Shrimp, Sam Perkins in the middle, Gary Payton, Hersey Hawkins in the backcourt. These teams finished the regular season with identical 57 and 25 marks. George Karl in his 5th full season as head man of the Sonics, and Rudy Tomjanovich in his 6th year as head coach of the Houston Rockets. This is a game, gentlemen, the Seattle Sonics have to have.
Yeah, but for the Houston Rockets, Greg, they've got to focus on today. Don't look at the big picture. Make Seattle play in the half-court game, and then also keep the Sonics off the foul line. No turnovers against that hacking defense of the Sonics.
For the Sonics, it's a start. They have got to get themselves out and be aggressive at the outset of the game. This is a team that's very fragile, and if they're in this ball game at the start, they have an excellent chance to win it.
The good news is that Dick Bavetta just got Bill Walton's okay to start the game.
But he didn't have me check the game ball, Greg.
Dick Bavetta, Bill Oakes, Don Vaden are the officials for this afternoon's game, and we are underway. Olajuwon on Sam Perkins. Shot clock is at 4. Barkley steps behind the 3 and puts it up.
A little bit of indecision by the Rockets that time. Always want to start the game attacking that basket.
Detlef Schrempf, who has been absolutely on fire. Detlef Schrempf comes into this game with a 47% field goal percentage. He shoots 58% behind the three-point line. Barkley to the hoop. Tapped in by Hakeem Olajuwon.
Seattle will stay at home with Hakeem primarily, but when Charles is able to break down a defender and get to the hoop, everybody's got to collapse, widening it up for Hakeem.
Hersey Hawkins is a very critical offensive player, makes a good play inside for the Sonics. They have got to get Hawkins in the game.
Drexler kicks it back outside to Matt Maloney. Drexler open for a 3.
That's always a good way to start the game.
Clyde Drexler comes off a 19.5 rebound outing in Game 3 2 nights ago. Sean Kemp with the turnaround and then back outside to Payton.
Barkley dominating the board as he did in Game 3 early on. Interesting matchups both ways in this game.
Payton back in a hurry, finds himself open, but then dishes to Schrempf. And Detlef Schrempf is 2 for 2 from the field.
Schrempf is going to be able to get that kind of shot away against Drexler because he's bigger and he uses his body and then fades away. And they've got to look to Detlef Schrempf early in the ball game.
Maloney into the lane. And Maloney 0 for 2 from the field so far. Maloney coming in a 50% shooter from the floor.
But that's not his shot off his own dribble, Greg. He needs to spot up off the post-ups from Drexler, from Hakeem, from Barkley. Down the lane, Barkley gets the drive there when nobody boxes him out. Hakeem throws it down.
It's a 6-5 Seattle lead under 9.5 to play here in the first. Barkley open, 3-pointer, got it.
Now that is weird defense. Come on, you double team somebody in the low post and leave Hakeem and Charles Barkley wide open on the weak side.
The idea is to confuse him, and the Rockets have been very methodical and trying to make the right read, and they get the three-point shot to go. And when the three-pointer's going, that's when their game is at its best.
Hersey Hawkins with a nice dish for Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp, who has been playing fabulous basketball for Seattle.
Hakeem comes back. 10-8 Rockets.
Houston cannot give up guard penetration to Payton, to Hersey Hawkins, or to Detlef Schrempf. They'll lose this game going away.
Kemp again.
Greg, Hakeem has such team defense responsibility and concepts out there that he's going for the double team to help all the time. And Sean Kemp is just delivering nothing but dunks.
Here comes Kemp. Spinning on Barkley, and Barkley got a hand on it, batted it out of bounds.
Now, Sean Kemp is not going to miss any of these type of shots. And when he gets them, he gets into a rhythm. He finds his game on the offensive glass, defensive rebounding, shot blocking.
Well, with all the dunks that are going down, I'm surprised you haven't jumped out of your seat because, you love to see a little facial.
Drexler with the rebound and takes off down court. Dishes to Maloney. 10-10 tie coming up on 7:40 to play here in the first quarter. Barkley. Charles Barkley off the glass to give the Rockets the 2-point lead, and Charles has 5.
Yeah, that's bad news for the Sonics. Barkley hasn't had a good offensive game yet. Olajuwon almost steals.
That is an incredible play by Hakeem Olajuwon. 6'10", so agile, forces the steal, saves it back inbounds, and it bounces off Payton's chest. Rockets ball.
Houston won game 1 back in Houston. Seattle came back with a 5-point win in game 2, and the Rockets won here in game 3.
Perkins is very difficult to lob against. The long arms, the anticipation. And Payton continues to struggle from the field, even though his eventual numbers have always been good. It's under 40% shooting.
Now that's
Ellie, a little indecision.
But that's where Ellie gets in trouble in between.
6:49 to play, first quarter. Timeout on the floor. Rockets by 2, and we'll be back to Key Arena after this.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you that anything can happen at Miller time. By the Home Depot, America's home improvement coach. And by Nissan, who reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride.
That would be the Walton family sailboat out on the Sound. Welcome back to Key Arena, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Steve Jones, Bill Walton. Jim Gray is with us as well. Let's check in with him. Jim.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. Well, there was a very big dinner last night between the coach and the star player. There was a lot to discuss. The coach telling the star player that he's doing way too much, he's hurting the team. The player telling the coach that he's made all the wrong adjustments and made some bad decisions. Quite a contentious meeting, you might think. Well, not exactly. George Karl hosted Charles Barkley to his house last night. The two had dinner. We asked the Rockets for their reaction to this, and they said Charles is a grown man. He makes his own decisions, and he can do whatever he wants on his own time. Greg?
As if that's something new. Thank you, Jim.
Highly unusual. I don't know if that's ever happened in the history of sport before.
Charles Barkley has come out throwing down baskets from all over the place. He has 7 now, and the Rockets with a 4-point lead.
Interesting thing is about Charles and Clyde Drexler is that they can just put their head down and get it done by themselves. Nothing the defense can do about it. Maloney shooting the passing lane.
Percy Hawkins on the move.
Sam Perkins, Hersey Hawkins are the key to victories for the Sonics. The big three for the Sonics have played well, and when those other two guys have gotten into the game, Seattle has won. When they haven't, they've lost.
Bad pass by Maloney that goes off of Olajuwon's hand to the turnover.
Sean Kemp will guard Barkley, stand up over the top of him. You see how Charles has his head down there. He knows exactly where he's going and where that hoop is.
Tremp spins on Drexler and goes to the reverse. Quick first step by Detlef Schrempf, and he has 6.
Greg, Seattle can space the floor as well as any team in basketball because they have so many shooters, and the pressure defense by Seattle forces a wasted timeout there by the Houston Rockets.
Now the Rockets are going to take a 20. Now they say they want to take a full.
This is a 2-1 lead in the series for the Houston Rockets, and this game 4 crucial to the Seattle Sonics, who don't want to go back to Houston down 2. We're back after this.
I just want to wish my mother and grandmother a very happy Mother's Day. To all the mothers in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, all the mothers in Alabama, all the mothers in Arizona, and all the mothers in Houston, Texas. God bless all y'all, and please have a great Mother's Day.
And in a very classy touch, the Seattle organization flew in the mothers of each and every Seattle Sonics player and introduced them prior to the game today. A very nice touch indeed.
Very emotional before the game on the court. Everybody screaming and yelling. Fired this place up.
Drexler's miss is rebounded by Detlef Schrempf. Here comes Hersey Hawkins.
They have a mismatch. Drexler against Sean Kemp. They should look to go to that right away.
Nice pass.
Payton blocked and fouled by Akeem. Gary Payton looked a little tentative to you?
Well, I'd be tentative if I saw number 34 in there. You know, he came in, and normally he would go right away, but Olajuwon closed that down, and Olajuwon committed himself to the block. Didn't look as though he got him, but they say Payton gets the benefit of the work.
Payton missed 10 of his first 15 shots when he came out in Game 3. He is 0 for 3 here so far this afternoon.
The only way you get out of a slump of any kind is to keep shooting. And so he's got to keep firing away because they need his numbers. They need his offensive pressure.
It's been tough because Gary Payton hasn't gotten a lot of good looks. Akeem not handling the double team there. When Akeem guards Sean Kemp at the defensive end, they don't have to double team Sean, and so Gary is being guarded very closely.
What a takeaway by Gary Payton. Up ahead to Kemp. Kemp, free throw line jumper. New 24 on the clock for the Sonics, but Schrempf takes it all the way in, and it rolls off. Sean Kemp follows.
Get a rebound if you're the Houston Rockets.
The Sonics relentless on the offensive glass, and they have to play. 8 straight points scored by Seattle.
Delay of game warning on Seattle. That could hurt later. The crowd is into it. Houston has the smallest forwards in the league.
Whistle blows before Akeem gets that, but let's go back to the Sonics on the offensive board.
When you've got forwards like Barkley and Mario Elie, you got to really be in great position there. Rudy Tomjanovich says, will somebody please get a rebound out there other than Akeem Olajuwon?
Well, Akeem's going to get a quick breather. Kevin Willis is going to get in the ball game. But what breaks down your rebounding position is gambling at the defensive end. And the Rockets have been out of position.
Kevin Willis off the baseline. Around and out. Barkley on the boards. Barkley again. And he'll go to the line. Looks like Charles Barkley decided to take the rebounding matters into his own hands.
Barely 6'4". Charles Barkley in against Sean Kemp, who's well over 6'10". Detlef Schrempf, who's a full 6'10", just out-hustled and out-positioned them and had much, much better timing.
Barkley was a force on the boards in Game 3. He had 11 points, 17 rebounds.
Game 2, Barkley came out. He was a house of fire early in the ball game and then cooled off, never regained the kind of momentum he's exhibiting today. He hopes that he can carry that through and dominate the glass and give a better offensive contribution. First free throw goes in. Nine quick points for Charles Barkley to lead all scores.
18-16, Sonics by 2, and we have 4 minutes to play here in the first.
Terrific off-the-ball defense by Mario Elie on Payton.
Shot clock is at 6 now. Payton into the lane, spins, dishes for Cummings. And Barkley with a rebound.
You love to watch Barkley and Kemp on that weak side, battling, positioning themselves, elbows, shoulders everywhere.
Willis doesn't get it to fall. And he'll go to the line. Charles Barkley with a little cut now to the right side of his eye. You see it there.
Looks more like a scratch, but he is bleeding, and no one has picked it up, so they would normally stop the play and get that fixed. You have to come out of the ball game, in and out. Let's see if the officials pick it up.
Kevin Willis, incidentally, before the game, asked if we could say welcome home to his close friend, Mr. Walker, who just came home from the hospital being treated for stomach cancer, and told that Kevin that we'd be happy to do that. 3.5 to play. First quarter, 1-point lead for Seattle.
There it is. They finally saw it.
Well, while they take a look at Charles Barkley's eye, we'll take the opportunity. We'll see if this is going to turn into a full timeout.
They have to take him out of the ball game, or they have to stop the bleeding. So someone is going to have to come back in. So Olajuwon is quickly going to come in the ball game.
Charles Barkley complaining to Dick Bavetta that if I'm bleeding, how come I didn't go to the foul line? Keith Jones, outstanding trainer for the Rockets in his first year with Houston, taking care of Charles.
Shot clock for Seattle is at 10. Payton to the baseline on Mario Ellie, looking for a shot to the right hook. Rejected by Olajuwon. And running out of time on the clock, and that expires. Hakeem went sky high, and George Karl wants a goaltend.
Terrific team defense. Mario Ellie shutting him down low, forcing Payton to concentrate strictly on Ellie, and Hakeem comes from over the top of his own teammate.
And you love to see it spit back on the guard. So, you know, I'm George Karl. I want to goaltend myself. Was that goaltend?
That was not goaltending. All you little guards, that's all you want. Go to the line and get goaltending and get bailed out by the refs.
Big guys fight for it and lose it.
Scramble for the ball, won by the Rockets, and Ellie with the easy one.
Hakeem has come off the bench unexpectedly with 2 magnificent plays.
Cummings gets Hakeem in the air and draws the foul. That'll be number 2.
One of the Rockets' biggest concerns today was foul trouble for Hakeem. He's on the bench now with 2. First one was a terrible call. That one was legit.
Those come from being amped up too much. He wants in this game too desperately.
Terry Cummings, a 75% free throw shooter from the line in the postseason, misses the first one. And we'll remind you to go online to NBCSports.com for all the latest from the playoffs. This week we take an in-depth look at Rick Pitino and his goal to restore the Celtics tradition. And our poll question asks, if you were an NBA player, for which coach would you most like to play? Cast your vote at NBCSports.com.
I figured it out from yesterday. I pondered that a lot, Greg.
And the answer is
Larry Bird. That's who I want to go play for.
2:20 to play. 19-19 tie.
Willis was wide open, but nobody saw him, and the Sonics are really reacting to passes and in the passing lane. Been very disruptive. They forced a turnover.
That's the 5th Houston turnover so far. Inside, Payton doesn't get it to fall. Here comes Drexler.
If you're the Rockets, you have to play with some calm against the panic defense of the Sonics. And if you're the Sonics, you got to continue to pressure and attack a turnover. Terry Cummings.
A turnover waiting to happen, Terry Cummings, in the open floor there. This is the pace, though, Steve, that George Karl really wants. They want it frenetic. They want it up and down, a slashing, a hacking, get the double team, turning it into offense. Just don't let Terry Cummings handle it in the midcourt.
You see the turnover story as we come up on 1:40 to play. Barkley passes out of the double team and then gets it right back. Fade away.
Great box out by Hersey Hawkins.
Payton along the baseline and then dips it back outside. Gets a return pass.
Doesn't realize it.
Barkley.
It'll be on Barkley.
And that is on Barkley.
But that's a tough call.
He got cut earlier, Steve.
And Barkley throws the ball into the first row of press row.
That's very dangerous. You can get the same effect if you move your pivot feet. Keep your elbows there and step with that pivot foot as opposed to rotating at the trunk.
What happened, though, you got Payton stripping on one side, you got Kemp on the other trying to rip above the ball. He was just trying to protect the basketball. Tough call in that situation.
Minute 5 to play in the first quarter. Delay of game was also called against Barkley and the Rockets. That for tossing the ball into the front row. Cummings breaks the tie.
And a double foul called here on Kevin Willis.
And Sean Kemp.
Double foul has been called. First on Houston's number 42, Kevin.
This is a tough series to referee. Incredible athletes on both sides, great skill, huge egos, dominant personalities.
First personal foul for each of those players, and now Eric Snow comes off the bench to replace Gary Payton, whose time on the court has been incredible in this series. Payton, 43 minutes in game 1, 47 in game 2, all 48 in game 3.
And he may be only down for a minute because George Karl just doesn't have the confidence in Snow. Foul inside Terry Cummings.
Terry Snow coming off the Sonics bench, the designated hatchet.
That slows the game down with Snow picking up the foul there, and you allow Payton to get a little bit more rest. Now, George Karl had been letting Gary Payton decide when he came out. Gary Payton said, I don't ever want to come out, so George Karl had to step in and say, I got to give you a little bit of rest here.
So he goes to the bench with a minute 5 remaining in the first quarter, plus the couple of minutes it'll take to play the rest of this quarter and the break between. He'll get about a 5-minute rest.
It won't seem that long.
There are a lot of old guys in this game. Gary Payton, one of the youngest.
21 and 21.
Eddie Johnson slips in.
Wasn't that the Phoenix Suns strategy? See if Sean Kemp could miss any of his dunks?
Willis, long jump hook, gets his own rebound. Comes down with it and goes back up. Kevin Willis, tough on the offensive glass to tie the game at 23. Last 5 seconds of the first quarter. Snow down the lane, dishes for Cummings, reverse good. Charles Barkley, 9 points and 4 rebounds in the first 12 minutes of this game. But as the teams go to the bench, it's the Sonics with a 25-23 lead. We'll be back to Key Arena in Seattle for the second quarter in just a moment. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
You're watching the NBA on NBC. The 1997 NBA playoffs.
The Houston Rockets and Charles Barkley down by 2 at the start of the second quarter. Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon, they form the big three. Individual champions in their own right. Combined, they're unstoppable. Charles Barkley, jumpers, Hakeem Olajuwon throwing down follow-up jams, and Clyde Drexler with spot-up three-pointers created by the big guys posting up inside. Their offensive numbers in this series, 56% of the team scoring. And today's action,
23 points for Houston as we get started here in the second quarter. And Snow on the floor to begin in the backcourt for the Sonics.
This is a gamble by George Karl. Terry Cummings, who was reluctant to shoot earlier, has gotten a little happy, and he's coming out with his nose on the rim. We'll see if he keeps it up.
but Terry has been a fabulous pickup for George Karl and Wally Walker here in Seattle. He has really done the job in McIlvain's disappearing act.
Barkley open for 3. And nothing but Sonics on the glass. Sam Perkins, top of the key, three-pointer on the way.
This is where the Rockets really struggle against Seattle. They have guys like Charles, Garden Perkins, and Hakeem. They love to basket hang and play team defense. They get killed in transition by Perkins.
Sedale 3 lost the handle.
This is the kind of start that the Sonics had hoped for. Not only offensively, but defensively. They've got the energy. They're allowing to slap, hack, and get away with a little bit more than they normally would. Big rebound, Willis.
Steve, we were talking last night about what the Sonics are like once they get a lead in a ball game.
This Sonic team is a better team with their nose out in front. They're fragile psychologically, and once the game gets tight or they're behind, that's when they have a tendency to tighten up.
If you are wondering, the team in the lead after the first quarter has won each game of this series.
Sam Perkins, who just comes in and guards whoever has the hot hand. Incredibly long arms, now standing over the top of Barkley in the low box.
Barkley passes out of the double team. Eddie Johnson on the move. Got it.
Now that's the reason they got Eddie Johnson with the make baskets. He had said earlier he'd been rushing his shot. Took a little bit more time, knocked that one down.
But Houston has to do a better job of getting Eddie lots of shots. And he is one of the game's great scorers.
Detlef Schrempf. And Willis with the rebound. Olajuwon will be back into the ball game at the next stoppage of play. 3 wide open, top of the key, way off the mark.
Free still is not in the best of shape, but you know he's very dangerous when he's going to his left, and that one was wide open and just measured it, missed it.
Houston's offense, as bad as they're playing right now, they made New York look good.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Sprite. Image is nothing. Thirst is everything. Obey your thirst. Sprite. By Plymouth. One clever idea after another. That's Plymouth. And by Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth.
Welcome back to Key Arena, and one of the supporting signs for the Houston Rockets and their big 3 says age is important only if you're a cheese.
Greg, in this series, there's 15 key guys, 8 for Houston, 7 for Seattle. 11 of them were drafted more than 10 years ago. This is not a young man series. And Terry Cummings, one of those elder guys, throws down the nice jump hook.
Elder is okay. Elder is good.
Olajuwon is back in and Barkley is out, but you can see that Seattle has dominated the inside scoring. They're going to get a foul against Terry Cummings. He barks away, and Dick Bavetta, you know, Bavetta threw out Shaq, so you know he's going to throw out Terry Cummings.
Well, wait a minute. You knew Bavetta was not going to take the first taunting from Shaq. He comes right back, and Shaq says, again, Bavetta, just get out of here.
In case you missed the first one. Terry Cummings takes a seat on the bench with his 3rd personal. Maloney, Eddie Johnson, Willis, Drexler, and Olajuwon on the floor for the Rockets. Drexler open top the key for 3.
Finally, some offense for Houston has really struggled. Seattle's the quicker team today.
Kemp. Tapped up again. Shawn Kemp.
Olajuwon got caved in, got underneath the basket, couldn't get back out. All the Shawn Kemp stuff has been in close.
Drexler scoops one up, batted out. Here come the Sonics. 5-on-2. Wingate. And batted away. Great play by Maloney. Drexler dives and out of bounds to Seattle.
We are in the playoffs.
This effort by Maloney and Drexler tells you that they want to go back to Houston ahead 3-1. There was no chance for Clyde to get that and do anything with it, and yet out of bounds and into the side.
Reminds us of all those old clips we've seen of Bill Walton diving for a loose ball.
Now, this is a smart play. Try to attack Olajuwon. Drexler, big steal.
Hakeem's got 2 fouls. They should put Willis on. But then that would put Hakeem on Sam Perkins, and Perkins just drill those 3s as Hakeem roams the basket.
They've got to get Olajuwon in the ball game at the offensive end, though. That's the big key for them. 5 on the shot clock.
Willis's jump hook, no good. Drexler back outside. Clyde Drexler literally all over the floor today. Double team on Akeem. Jumper from the side. That one forced by Drexler. Eddie Johnson with the putback.
And they're saying that's not supposed to happen. When was the last time Eddie Johnson got an offensive rebound?
4 for EJ. 32-30 Sonics. And a technical foul is called on George Karl.
Technical foul has been called on Seattle coach George Karl.
George Karl all the way out at center court. Dick Bavetta called it, and Eddie Johnson will shoot it.
I don't understand what he could be complaining about on that last play. Maybe it's been an accumulation. Maybe he just wanted to get a little airtime to get the crowd going on his side.
He felt these guys got pushed around on that offensive series by the Houston Rockets. But if you go back to the other end of the floor, they've been doing as much pushing, shoving, holding, and grabbing as the Houston Rockets have.
Seattle has been the aggressor today, and that's why they have the lead. Houston lucky to be this close.
Drexler down, Ellie in.
Shrimp, baseline. Rebound, Ellie. Matt Maloney is yet to get off the mark in scoring so far this afternoon. Eddie Johnson on the runner.
That's not a good sign for Seattle. If that guy gets in the zone, you can turn the lights out.
He has 7, and it's the Rockets by 1.
You got to come to Sean Kemp if you're the Sonics. Olajuwon's got 2.
Nice job by Eric Snow with the feed for Sean Kemp, who has 10.
Rudy Tomjanovich up and down the bench yelling, hey, we worked on this pick and roll in practice. We talked about it in the locker room. Execute the defensive game plan.
Akeem back outside. Maloney for 3. First 3 points of the day for Matt Maloney, who comes in averaging 15 and a half.
Seattle doing a good job here of getting Snow involved. Let Peyton rest a little bit while he still plays and does the little things.
Peyton back in the ball game.
Maloney again. And hits again.
Heat check.
Seattle calls time with 6:16 to play in the first half. 39-34 Rockets. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Welcome back to Seattle. I'm Jim Gray. Well, the Sonics did a very nice thing here on Mother's Day. They flew all of their players' mothers in. Right now, I'm joined by Barbara Kemp and Annie Payton. Mrs. Kemp, first to you from Elkhart, Indiana. Is this the first time that all the moms have been together at a game?
Yes, it is, and we're having a wonderful time.
Now, who's the most vocal up here? Who's really into the game?
Mrs. Snow over here, Eric Snow's mother.
Were you surprised that you're here?
Very.
What did you plan to do?
I planned on staying home because I was just here a few weeks ago, but I'm real glad that this happened and we're having a real good time.
Mrs. Payton here from Oakland.
Yes.
What did you plan to do today?
Well, nothing but go to church and then come back home and have dinner. But it was very nice to be invited to Seattle to spend it with my son.
Now you have 4 other children at home. I'm sure they're going to miss you today.
Oh, yeah. They always be jealous when I come to visit Gary.
Well, happy Mother's Day to you both. Nice to see you both.
And thank you very much.
And happy Mother's Day to my mom as well, Greg.
All right, Jim. And we to ours. Gary Payton scores inside. And the Rockets lead is now 3 at 39-36.
Jim McElvain snuck in the ball game during that break, and he's the guy that they've got during the offseason to give him some shot blocking and rebounding. They will need it. Let's see how his big body reacts.
Here's the man with the hot hand. Find some shots for Eddie Johnson.
Willis on the baseline will go the other way.
I just don't understand. You got guys who are stroking it.
And now we have a technical foul on Kevin Willis.
Kevin Willis reacting the entire time to try to show the official that he got pushed out of bounds, took exception to the call, and a technical. So this tells you the referees are not going to allow the players to show them up in any way this afternoon.
Not on Mother's Day.
Well, in that Houston locker room, you'd think there would be subconsciously some sort of letdown, a little bit of relaxation because they got back to even with the big win Friday night. But this team, Houston, they know how important this game is. Kevin Willis, he has no reason to complain about that call. But with Utah looking to close out the Lakers and get a good rest here, if this series goes real long, the winner could be exhausted against a very, very fresh Utah team.
5.5 to play, first half. Sonics with the ball, they trail by 2. McIlvain back into the game for the first time, and Charles Barkley off the bench for Houston. Back outside, Payton for 3.
Finally, some outside shooting as Gary Payton gets his 9th point of the day. It's all been inside off the penetration and the faulty rotation for Houston.
Eddie Johnson on the move, around and out. And loose ball foul is going to go against the Sonics.
When they post up Detlef Schrempf here, Eddie Johnson, not a great defensive player, but it's solid. They have to double down, and that frees up Payton.
Sonics by 1, 40-39. Maloney left it behind, recovers.
Look at George Karl.
And a loose ball foul is on Maloney.
They called a foul against Maloney, but he got held and stripped of the ball by Hersey Hawkins on the crossover. There's a little grab across the arm to pull it away, and then he pushes off.
That's a bad call. There's no foul either way there. Let it go. It's the playoffs.
Schrempf to McIlvain. That's a little hard off the glass.
Watch your face, you're going to get hurt.
Now they got Elijah one against Detlef Schrempf on his back. Nice steal, Sean Kemp.
Schrempf to McIlvain in the paint. A little better form and touch by McIlvain.
Charles saying once again, my fault on the horrible post pass, and Rudy Tomjanovich, they need a timeout.
Sean Kemp steal at the other end. Got it started for the Sonics. The pass inside, and watch Kemp go up, take it away. That starts it. At the other end, the Sonics, Jim McIlvain completes an 8-point run for the Seattle Sonics, who lead it by 3.
Hi, I'm Hannah Storm in New York. Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll take a look back at the Knicks and the Heat, who played a thriller at Madison Square Garden earlier today. We'll hear from all the principals involved, including Pat Riley, and we'll get the thoughts of Julius Erving, Peter Vesey, and Mike Fratello on that game, and also the first half of the Rockets and Sonics. Right now, it's Seattle leading by 3 as we send it back to Greg Gumbel, Steve Jones, Bill Walton, and Jim Gray.
All right, Hannah, we welcome you back to Key Arena. Seattle leads it by 3, and the scoring is very, very evenly distributed on both sides, Steve Jones.
It has been a good balance, and everybody getting into the act, and that tells you not only are they sharing the basketball, but the defenses have been alert and reacting to make it possible for a lot of people to get involved.
Or as Bill Walton said during the timeout, this is a good game.
Outstanding game. Like Game 3 was here Friday night as Drexler. Oh, no.
Broke free, couldn't let it fall.
Hakeem is not having a big statistical game here.
Ellie out of the pack.
One of the ways that you beat the Sonic defense is to get the ball up the floor quickly. Matt Maloney.
Maloney going to try it again from 3, and that one's good.
That's the growth of a team, the growth of a rookie, the confidence to be able to come right back after he bricks one. Usually you say, we're never coming your way again, kid.
That'll be a jump ball. And Hakeem looking for the foul that wasn't called.
You have Matt Maloney making 3-point field goals in this second quarter, so you know he's going to be looking for that shot the rest of the 3 minutes of this half. The Rockets may realize he's hot, may give him the opportunity. Rudy's trying to get them lined up correctly and recognize where the tip may go, and they want to get Barkley in between Hawkins and Perkins.
Hawkins and Barkley. I believe the problem is that Charles has too much fun out here.
It's that passion that he plays with that makes it so much fun for all the fans. Nice controlled tap there by Akeem.
Hawkins all over Maloney.
Now Barkley has got Payton on him, but he didn't even look to shoot it.
Ellie, top of the key for three.
He had to put extra arc on it. Percy Hawkins had a great run by him. Still found the range.
45-42 Rockets as we come up to 2.5 to play. Payton inside. And Gary Payton with 11 now.
They're going to double the ball, and that means the Rockets have got to recognize and try to get Olajuwon involved.
Olajuwon gets himself involved. Jumper is no good, and here comes Seattle with a chance to grab the lead.
Caught Akeem off guard that time. Terrific defense, Perkins. Seattle battling back on the glass.
Tremp inside. And it's the Sonics by 1 as we get under 2 minutes to play for the half.
The tall forwards for Seattle, Kemp and Detlef, able to post up at will.
They're using Perkins as the double team guy. Olajuwon's got to cut to the rim. Ellie, nice kick to keep it alive.
And Akeem fouled by Sean Kemp.
Shrimp has had his way against Drexler and Mario Alio because he's a bigger, stronger forward, and when he takes his time like that at 6'10", he's going to be able to get the shot away.
Tell you what has not happened here in the second quarter is Charles Barkley, who had 9 points in the first quarter. He is scoreless and 0 for 1 from the field so far here in the second.
Seattle's defense has taken Houston totally out of their offense, only bailed out by great perimeter shooting.
Maloney kicks to Akeem Olajuwon for the short jumper. And the Rockets lead by 1 with 1:10 to play.
First 2 for Olajuwon, and what they're saying is we're going to make you find Olajuwon in someplace other than the low box.
Maloney solid as can be here.
Shrimp shook his man, and the shot was off the mark. Perkins, big long arms, and then fouled on the way back up. Barkley wants an explanation. The foul is on Olajuwon, and that's 3.
That's what they did not want to happen, but and Olajuwon very vocal about it because he feels that it's been uneven here. Othello Harrington's going to come in because Willis has foul problems as well.
Rudy Tomjanovich just wants to get to the half as close to being tied or a point or 2 ahead if he can.
Sam Perkins, a playoff veteran. Playoff games without a championship. Perkins is there. Barkley is there. Sean Kemp goes to the bench. David Wingate into the game.
Don't want him to pick up another quick foul, which you know he's capable of in the excitement of this game and the energy that's being expended by both teams.
Perkins gives the Sonics a 1-point lead. 55 seconds to play in the first half.
Shoot at 40 here and play 2 for 1 for the Rockets.
Cross court, Maloney open for 3, and that one's off the mark and out of bounds.
Now that time Maloney aimed it, measured it, and when you measure a shot, that's when you get a turnover.
And now Othello Harrington, as George Karl wants a 20-second timeout. Looks like Harrington in a little bit of a confrontation with Detlef Schrempf. Well, Sean Kemp has gone to the bench for the remainder of this first half, but he's been a force so far.
Sean Kemp can do pretty much what he wants to, and if you're just going to allow him to dunk, he is never going to miss that. One of the great delivery men in basketball today. Sean Kemp has that tremendous knack for moving away and off the ball and then coming in and attacking, and there is no way you can stop him when he gets that kind of momentum. First couple of games in this series, fabulous numbers. It's been a tough regular season for Sean, but he's more than made up for it in the playoffs this year.
Whatever got him sideways, the playoffs have gotten him straight away. And, you know, he is back on form, and George Karl is happy about that. 41.4 here before the half is over. And what Rudy Tomjanovich wants to do is make sure none of his key players pick up another quick foul. Odell Harrington, who got caught up in the excitement. I'm going to get a veteran in here so he doesn't whack somebody upside the head and get a foul. Small team in for the Rockets now.
Rockets with Barkley, Ellie, Maloney, Drexler, and Eddie Johnson. The Sonics counter with Perkins, Hersey Hawkins, David Wingate, Detlef Schrempf, and Gary Payton.
Two-man game between Payton and Perkins. They're locked up out there in front. Tough call because Ellie gets caught on the second one. Perkins hooked, and Ellie trying to get away, throws him down.
Now this is a true WWF match.
And see that big guy hook underneath? He should have been thrown down by a guard.
I don't understand how they just call a foul there. Just let it go. Guys stumbling around, falling down.
And a technical foul has been called on Rudy. And Rudy's upset. Somewhere, someone decreed that technical fouls are a good Mother's Day present because they've been handing them out.
This shows, Greg, though, how critically important the outcome of this game is to both teams. Seattle, the defending Western Conference champ, they think they can win the title. For Houston, they only think the title will redeem their season this year.
Going all the way back to Olajuwon's third foul. Well, Rudy Tomjanovich was still upset. Is still upset from that incident and that call.
Hakeem's got 3 fouls today, and 2 of them were absolutely atrocious.
You know, I can't wait until you become either a coach or an official. Either one. It's going to be a treat.
Are you trying to get rid of me or
what?
Not
at all. Not at all. I'm sure you'll be able to work it in.
In between gigs, right?
Yeah. 32.6 to play in the first half. With a 4-point lead. And a 20-second timeout is called by the Rockets. Want to remind you that we are game 2 of the triple header here on NBC today. You saw the New York Knicks knock off Miami. Coming up next, the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan tip it off against Dikembe Mutombo and the Atlanta Hawks. Their conference semifinal continues next here on NBC.
Atlanta showed signs of life yesterday. They really played a marvelous first half, but then their offense fell apart. They need to get more creative, more guys involved if they're going to compete with the Bulls.
They have to have the same sense of desperation that the Sonics are showing here this afternoon. We have to have that game. They cannot go back to the United Center down 3-1 expecting that they're going to win a ball game, game 5.
Last half minute of play in the first half.
The Sonics will make you pass the ball so that you can't hold it, and what you need to do is center the ball and then attack the basket. Drexler checks the clock.
There's 6 on the shot clock. Drexler.
Ooh, Barkley good.
This has not been a good closing minute for the Houston Rockets, and Barkley, he's on his way to get the technical of his own.
That's number 1 on Barkley. And Payton gives him a little good luck rub to the top of the head. Payton now laughing with Mario Ellie back here.
What we always always say about games that are this intense and this emotional is you cannot allow yourself to be distracted by the officials. The Rockets have lost their focus here in the final 2 minutes, and it's allowed the Sonics to get some cheap points.
Perkins, his 5th straight field goal here this afternoon. 52-47 Sonics. Especially on the road, a team may regret this final minute of play the way the Rockets have played this one. The biggest lead of the day for Seattle. Final seconds, Barkley for 3. Tap no good by Drexler, and that'll do it for the first half. Matt Maloney, 3 of 6 from 3, 9 points total. Gary Payton, 11 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, 53-47 Sonics. The Prudential halftime report from New York right after this.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
It's halftime in Seattle with the Sonics leading the Rockets 53-47. Seattle going on a 7-0 run to end the half. And for Houston, Hakeem Olajuwon with 3 fouls only has 6 points in the first half. Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm along with Dr. J, Peter Vesey, Mike Fratello, and they will check in with their comments in just a few moments. It was a great game earlier today at Madison Square Garden as the New York Knicks beat the Miami Heat, even though it was a low-scoring defensive struggle. The final 77-73, but these two teams made it exciting in the Big Apple. The Heat getting off to a fast start as Vashawn Leonard feeds Alonzo Mourning, who makes a nice catch for the jam. And then Vashawn Leonard got hot from the outside. 4 for 4 from three-point range in the first quarter. And the Heat took an 8-point lead after 1. And in the second, Leonard going to work on John Starks. And Leonard with a tough jumper in the lane. He put Miami up 35-24. They led by 8 at the half. In the second half, though, the Knicks came back. Allen Houston pulls up from long range. And New York takes a 63-61 lead early in the fourth. Under 3 minutes left, game tied at 73. Starks goes for the three-pointer, but he's fouled by Leonard. On the way up, he hit all 3 of his free throws, giving New York a 76-73 lead. And then the play of the game, Miami with the last chance to tie it, but Tim Hardaway's shot blocked by Patrick Ewing. And the Knicks hang on for the win, 77-73. New York takes a 2-1 lead. Patrick Ewing not only with the big block, but he also led all scorers with 25. Vashawn Leonard with the Heat finished with 22. Tim Hardaway just 17, half as many as he scored in Game 2. The 150 total points is the second lowest scoring game in playoff history. After the game, we got reaction from both teams.
I suppose come off a flare screen, and Patrick just stepped out, and I tried to shoot over him, 7-1. He blocked the shot, and that was game.
Timmy had the look on the catch. I think he probably now, if he could have caught it and just went with it instead of shot faked him, would have got it airborne. You know, but Patrick stayed down on the shot fake, and that was it. But he was open for a count on the catch, and but he made a great play.
My emotions, my emotions got a hold of me. I was disappointed in the fact that I turned the ball over, the play before. So I had to vindicate myself, and I was able to.
I'm ready. We're ready. I think it's great. I think it's great for us to come right back tomorrow night. I just do. I think it's you don't have to think about the loss too much, and only have one day of the headlines.
And Pat Riley, the former Knicks coach, sure to get lots of headlines. What was it after the first loss? Take that, Pat, was on the back of one of the papers. Mike, you talked a lot about Miami's defense in the first half, but the Knicks defense was the story down the stretch.
Well, at halftime, we were singing Miami's virtues about 37% shooting for New York, only 34 points for the Knicks. Everything looked good for Miami's defense. But we must give credit to New York in the fourth quarter. Only 2 baskets in the final 12 minutes for Miami. 0 baskets in the final 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Big plays Starks, Houston come up with deflections, which lead to bad or forced shots by Miami down the stretch, and then no bigger play than the last one with 13 seconds remaining. Mashburn taking the ball out of bounds. The guy they're trying to free up on the far side of the floor is Vasson Leonard, with first a baseline screen from Marley, and then the inbounds passer coming down and setting the second screen. Unless they get it in, they can't run a play. Baseline screen comes across from Marley. Here comes the inbounds passer down Mashburn to try and free him up. Here is where they're trying to get New York, in particular Chris Childs, to turn his head on dribble penetration just to look a little bit at the basketball. In the meantime, Mourning will step up and backpick the guy they want the three-point shot for, Tim Hardaway. This places Patrick Ewing in a tough decision. Do I stay with Mourning or switch out on Hardaway? Well, they're winning by 3, so a 2 doesn't mean anything. Ewing, as you notice, crowds the three-point line. He doesn't care if Hardaway goes past him off the dribble. 2 doesn't tie and send it into overtime. He hugs him tight, forces him to elevate, and then he does not get a clean look at the basket. A terrific defensive play by Patrick Ewing, the veteran center, all the experience, understanding time and score.
And on the offensive end regarding Ewing, you talked to Jeff Van Gundy earlier today. They wanted a key adjustment there, and it worked out pretty well in the second half.
That's right. Jeff Van Gundy said he did not like the way the offense was too far out, particularly relating to Patrick Ewing. He wanted to feed Ewing inside the paint, and that's where the game was won. Ewing had 12 field goals, and I venture to say every one of them was in the paint. 44-22, the Knicks outscored the Heat in the paint. You can't ask for a better advantage than that.
Okay, now they got to come back tomorrow and play this thing again. For Patrick Ewing, a guy with bad knees, it's been reported all season. How tough is that back-to-back game?
Well, not just Patrick. I mean, the Knicks have to dread the fact that they have to play back-to-back games. Patrick, Charles Oakley, Buck Williams, their average age is 35 years. They probably have 39-year-old Herb Williams in the locker room right now applying the ice. They got to get food. They got to get rest. They got to get Tylenol. They got to get Advil, whatever it takes. Most importantly, I think they have to just get mentally ready to play a smart, efficient game tomorrow with no wasted energy.
Herb Williams is older than ice.
Yes. And even though he's not in the playoff rotation, Herb Williams may make a big contribution, as you say, in his own way. As for the Miami Heat, best road record in the NBA this season. In the playoffs, 0 for 3 on the road. Game 4 tomorrow night, right back at Madison Square Garden. And up next, we'll talk about the first half in Seattle between the Sonics and the Rockets. First, a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. Chicago's Michael Jordan arriving at the Omni in Atlanta a short time ago. Game 4 between the Bulls and the Hawks coming up after the Rockets and the Sonics. And right now at halftime, Seattle leading Houston 53-47. A docket comes down to the big 3 for the Rockets, as you pointed out earlier today. What about their performance in the first half?
Well, you know, they're true to form. I think they have resisted the temptation to try and individually take over. Barkley scored 7 points in the first 2 minutes. Now he has 9. Clyde and Olajuwon only have 6. You know, they're not trying to do it on their own. And aside from that 7-0 run that Seattle got at the close of the half, the Rockets are pretty much right where they want to be.
Well, you talked about the role players, too, Peter, maybe being the pivotal players in this matchup. So
far, not so. You said the domination right there with the big 3, and that's where it's been. Perkins, Hawkins, even McIlvain and Terry Cummings outscoring the subs from Houston, I believe 23-21 in the first half.
What jumps out at you, Mike, from the first half?
We thought the transition game was going to be the key. Seattle's only got 3 points in transition. What they did do, though, is beat Houston up in the paint area 36-12 in favor of Seattle in the paint. You would think that Olajuwon, Barkley, and Willis would dominate that area. The only thing keeping Houston hanging in there is the three-point line right now, where they have 7 threes in the first half.
And Houston's turned the ball over 10 times as well. It's halftime in Seattle. The Sonics leading the Rockets by 6. We'll send it back for the second half after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
Welcome back to Houston. I'm Jim Gray. I spoke to Rudy Tomjanovich. Welcome back to Seattle, by the way, not Houston. Spoke to Rudy Tomjanovich of the Houston Rockets. He said his team lost the focus in the last minute of play. Said we had a lot of unforced errors in the first half. If we're going to be any better in the second half, we can't beat ourselves. He said he did not like some of the calls that went down at the end of the first half, but he says we have to live with them. This will be our most intense half of basketball of the season. We just have so much to gain. Now, as for George Karl of Seattle, he went on to tell his team that there is going to be an awful lot of elbows here in the second half. You better expect a war. Greg?
Jimmy, I think it was all the sunshine that threw you outside. Get ready for the start of the second half. The Sonics 53, the Rockets 47, and a lot of players in a lot of quiet conversation with the officials. And a lot of players in a lot of quiet conversation with the officials as they came back onto the court.
But this is the moment here of truth. Third quarter, it all starts. Sean Kemp, he's been ready. Good, solid first half for him. You come out, you ignore the ref, you just start running until the other team quits.
Kemp to Shrimp.
That's a good time to play. Good defensive energy, and then a terrific recognition, and now the Rockets try to counter at their end of the floor.
Drexler with a power move. He got the bucket, and he'll go to the line. Let's go back to Sean Kemp, and Detlef Schrempf moving nicely without the basketball.
Akeem can only do so much there. Charles did a poor job defensively, and then Clyde Drexler comes right back. Looks like he's going to dump it off, and when a defender, as Sam Perkins was there, don't back up, go out and meet him on the floor.
In the first 3 games of this series, the difference between the two teams in points in the paint was not more than 6 one way or the other. So far today, Seattle has the edge 38-14.
That's because Olajuwon really has not been able to get the basketball and get a chance to get any kind of offensive rhythm. He is their low post guy along with Barkley, and Barkley got off to a great start.
Payton to the left hand.
I'm surprised,
Gary Payton.
I'm surprised Houston is this close in this game. Nobody's really playing that well. Maloney kept them close, but it's all Seattle. Unless Houston picks it up and starts attacking the basket, they're going to be in for a terrible afternoon.
Barkley with a tough move inside, and he'll go to the line to try for the three-point play. Foul.
What gets Houston in trouble also can get them out of trouble, and that's waiting for each one of the big 3 to individually do something. First, it's Drexler's drive. Now they come back with Barkley at his drive. If he gets this, it's another three-point play, a conventional one, but you ring up another foul against Sean Kemp.
Barkley's first points since the first quarter. He has 12 as George Karl looks on. 4-point lead for Seattle. Payton. And the blocking foul is called. That'll be Barkley's second.
All because Houston cannot deny individual penetration. Once Sean Kemp starts getting into the lane, Rudy Tomjanovich and the rest of the Rockets can do nothing other than start rotating. And then when they swing the ball, then Gary Payton's just coming down the lane.
Payton, the Sonics' leading scorer here in the postseason. He now has 15 this afternoon. 59-53 Sonics.
Both teams really stroking it. Concentration, supreme level today.
Yeah, we want to know who missed.
Maloney for 3. Matt Maloney lights it up again from long range. He has 12, and the Sonics lead is down to 3. Perkins for 3. And the ball stolen out of bounds. And the ball will belong to Houston.
Almost a terrific play by Schrempf. He surprised Drexler as Clyde had the ball clearly under control and underneath. And before he can get to it,
that's a bad call. Bad call.
You know, if you're an official, you got to make it right now. Give them a little room today. This is a tough ball game for them.
Give and go. Maloney on the nice feed from Charles Barkley. We have noticed that Bill Walton is the master of the replay. you are nearly flawless on the replay, Bill. Perkins open for another three-point attempt, and in and out. And the Rockets now looking for the lead. Drexler down the lane, dishes, and Olajuwon saves to Maloney. And that's out of bounds to Houston.
Maloney comes up limping there. He sort of went into that collision a bit cautious. Looked like he did not want to get hit by Hersey Hawkins.
Well, he actually made a pretty good read because he knew he wasn't going to be able to catch the ball and bounce it off Hawkins' leg. So it's 11 on the shot clock, looking for Elijah, who's got to get into this game at the offensive end.
He does. Ouch. Rockets by 1, 60-59. Akeem with 8.
But Akeem is matched up with Perkins, space the floor, spot up Sam.
Now this is where Shrimp has an advantage if he just continues to break down Drexler.
And until Sam Perkins starts to make that shot, the Rockets are going to give it to him.
In order for Elijah to be effective, they got to have some cutters to the basket, and the Rockets don't do that enough. 3 for Drexler is off.
There's the first miss of the quarter for the Rockets, and Rudy disagrees with the call again.
Well, Charles Barkley threw the Sonics out of the way.
That's number 3 on Charles.
Well, Barkley can't argue here. He's got to go to the bench. He's got 3, but he's also got to see. Rudy's got to have them for later on in the ball game.
Charles is one of the guys that can play with fouls.
That's tough, though. Sean Kemp is very active today, and he is very much under control. Barkley and Willis are going to have their hands full. Drexler with a nice strip, but they call it against him.
Barkley's numbers as he has a rest. Here's Drexler, who committed his first. Clyde just 3 of 13 from the field today. Detlef Schrempf, one of those guys who has elevated his game in the postseason. Well, especially this one. 5 points a game better than his career number.
The regular season this year was a near disaster for Detlef with all the injuries, the broken hand, the torn tendon in the foot. He's healthy, he's happy, he's ready, he's running.
Olajuwon. And Maloney.
Shot clock.
That's going to come up short. Loose ball. Batted around. Picked off by Willis. New 24. But he feeds Drexler down low.
Drexler kept that alive by kipping the tip, and then they get it back. Clyde gets his 5th point of the quarter. Crowd doesn't like it.
62-61 Houston.
Seattle's defense is so quick. They're able to double and get back. Clyde, all he can do is foul. And again, the tall forwards. Post up. They wear you down here in the Northwest.
Number 2 on Clyde, and again, Schrempf will go to the free throw line. Schrempf perfect in 3 tries so far. We're tied at 62.
Rudy Tomjanovich wanted the Rockets to not be a fouling defensive team today, to make the Sonics take and then make tough shots.
Schrempf
get a rebound if you're the Houston Rockets.
Tie game at 62. Drexler kicks it back out. Willis saves it and goes to the hoop. And it falls.
And his prayers are answered.
Luck is the element that you can never measure in a ball game and when it's going to come. Schrempf misses after he gets a shot from the line, and then this ball should have been stolen by Payton, and the bounces that 4-corner basketball, and it goes in.
Here's what's important. 4 personal fouls on Sean Kemp, and he now goes to the bench with 7.5 to play in the 3rd.
And in every series in which Sean Kemp has had to sit an extended period of time, Phoenix and this one, the Sonics have been hurt.
Willis makes it a 3-point play, and the Rockets lead it by 3.
2 straight times Kevin Willis is sort of hanging around the perimeter in a daze. The ball comes right to him. Nothing but magic. Houston back in it.
Cummings trapped down low, gives it up to Payton, and 8 on the shot clock. Cummings, jump shot, top of the key, around, tapped up, grabbed by Willis. Puts Payton to the floor. Back comes Ellie.
But no complaint by Gary whatsoever.
It's batted out of bounds, no, save. And here come the Sonics. Shrimp and Payton, 2-on-1. Willis thought it went in. Hawkins with the rebound. Kevin Willis thought it fell through.
Yeah, Willis went to sleep on that because there was one that they thought they had.
So hard to hear in here. The fans incredibly intense.
Here's a giveaway. Maloney gets it back, and the foul is on Maloney. They're kind of excited here at Key Arena.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By IBM, solutions for a small planet. And by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks.
Rudy Tomjanovich asking his troops not to pay too much attention to the officials, but just a few moments ago before that last stoppage of play, Matt Maloney was called for a foul here.
Well, the ball gets kicked out. Maloney called for the foul. He must have fouled him with his back. I'm not sure.
Yes, he did. The replay helps you see that he did help him call him with his back. Leading scorers in the ball game, both of them guards, has had a ton of lead changes in this one. Maloney showing that he's ready for the playoffs this year. Hersey Hawkins hadn't had a lot of trips to the line, but he's always been tough.
Hersey Hawkins is now a perfect 16 out of 16 from the free throw. Smith.
See if you had the extra.
Tied at 65, 6:15 to play here in the third. Akeem. Cummings with the rebound.
I think Olajuwon has got to be a little bit more selfish and really try to attack Sam Perkins more, even though he missed strip.
Pretty good defense by the Rockets. Here comes Ellie for 2.
And Barkley up off the bench saying, how is that not a foul? Ellie just raked by Gary Payton.
Perkins fakes the 3, drives, and the offensive foul.
Look at Charles Barkley on that bench. He is out on that court. First nice thing he said to Dick Pavetta in 12 years.
Nice call, Dick.
Both teams have been reacting very well at the defensive end, and of course they know that this game is huge and they're playing like it, and this is what makes this afternoon's game so great.
Willis. Jump hook doesn't fall. Akeem tried to sneak in the back door, but the Sonics have the ball.
Akeem only has 8 points this afternoon, 7 shot attempts, no free throw attempts.
But that's not enough. I mean, he has got to start getting some sort of offensive rhythm.
Nice setup by Gary Payton. And the collective Seattle moms.
That's clearly an offensive foul on Clyde Drexler. We talked earlier about guys putting their heads down. Clyde is very predisposed to do that.
That's 3 on Drexler. Houston with 13 turnovers today to Seattle's 7. Perkins, 3. On the baseline, Hawkins going to follow it up. Tapped up, no good, loose ball to Willis. Maloney going to stop and put it up. That's a 2 if it goes, but it doesn't go, and Willis wins the battle for the board. Maloney for 3, got it.
If you don't know my name by now, you'll remember it. Matt Maloney.
He has come right back after a couple of terrible misses and just drilled long jumpers.
Payton inside and gets 2 of them back. 70-69.
Akeem has no rhythm on the defensive end and no space on the offensive end.
Here's a whistle and a foul call against the Sonics. Let's go back to Matt Maloney, who put up a three, missed it, got it back again, and nailed it from long range and on the side. Charles Barkley looks good.
Well, when a guy on the way to the Hall of Fame can cheer for his teammates like that, that tells you that not only is he into the game, but, you know, he's got the good sense and feel. Drexler from the outside.
Perkins for three. That one falls.
Off the transition that kills him as the mother's enjoying it immensely here at Key Arena.
Olajuwon outside. Ellie down the lane, had it batted away. Payton, three-pointer. And overthrown and out of bounds. It'll go back to the Sonics.
Rudy wants a timeout.
They didn't get it called quick enough.
And they give it right back. Drexler in a hurry, and that'll be a blocking foul against the Sonics.
The game has gotten very wild, up and down. Clyde Drexler determined to get to the hoop. David Wingate clearly moving.
Well, what happened on the play was Rudy was thinking timeout, and Clyde saw a chance to steal one and just force the issue.
Drexler now with 12 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Tied at 72. Maloney helps with the double team. Behind the back, ball is taken away.
Seattle's offense has gotten very sloppy and careless.
They got to get the ball to Olajuwon and somehow shake him loose. Ellie for three.
Mario looked down at the right hand, but I don't think that was it. Or maybe it was. We'll take a timeout with 2:40 to play here in the third. Tied at 72, and we're coming back to Seattle after this. A particularly appropriate sign here on Mother's Day, but as you see the Seattle moms. But if you were with us at halftime of our first game today, you saw this young man, Matt Maloney, talking about his dad who died a year ago and never had a chance to see him perform in the NBA. Dad would be proud. Wingate open for the three. And Cummings tracks it down.
If you're going to give Wingate open shots, you cannot concede the defensive board there. Long rebounds all to Seattle.
Wingate over Maloney, rebound to Willis.
If you are Houston, you love to see Wingate take it upon himself to try to become a scorer. He's the guy that has to live off of other people.
Under 2 minutes to play in the third. Drexler.
Rudy Tomjanovich, according to Jim Gray, he falls out.
That'll be Willis, and that'll be number 3 on Kevin.
But Clyde is struggling right now offensively, and Rudy just told Clyde that, hey, you played this game a long time. Slow down, calm down, don't force the action, it'll come your way.
Drexler hitting just 4 of his 16 field goal attempts today.
Here's another guy who's played the game a long time, Terry Cummings. Rookie of the year when he first started out.
First round pick of the Clippers back in 1982, the number 2 pick overall. played 2 years in San Diego, 5 in Milwaukee, 6 in San Antonio, another year in Milwaukee, and here he is in Seattle. Chicago guy.
Dick Bavetta and Kevin Willis had a nice conversation. They came to an agreement about the call, and then they could inbound the play. Cummings missed the first and second.
Willis and Olajuwon on the ball. Minute 45 to play, third quarter, tie game at 72. Willis backs in on Cummings.
He wants that jump hook.
And he's got it.
Well, the Rockets have held on here with Barkley in foul trouble here in the third. He'll be well rested for the stretch.
Shrimp down low for Wingate.
That's what Denver Shrimp told Wingate. They're doubling me, and it's your man. You got to cut to the basket. This time, Wingate's rewarded.
We get an illegal defense call.
Rudy is saying, I finally get a break here.
I think Bavetta's going to have a headache when he leaves here today. They're already yelling at him so much.
Well, he gets it from Rudy Tomjanovich down at that end. He goes down to this end, and George Karl has an earful for him.
And Bill Oakes is smartly working this side of the court where the coaches are not.
First illegal D, so it's out on the side in the new 24.
Willis with the turnaround, and Shrimp with the rebound. And we get a whistle and a timeout called. No. Foul call on Willis. That's 4 on, it's Akeem Olajuwon. 4 on Akeem.
But this is not good judgment by the Rockets. Right here they surround. Now Olajuwon's going to try to come underneath and gets caught. And they lose him, and they really haven't had Olajuwon in the ball game today. He's had no rhythm of this game, and they're going to have to see him sit down for the top of the fourth quarter.
It's an 8.8 rebound day for Akeem Olajuwon as he goes to the bench, replaced by Othello Harrington, the rookie out of Georgetown. And a technical is called on Akeem. That's the 4th technical handed out here today. I believe Bill Walton and Steve Jones are about the only ones in the house who haven't gotten technicals here so far.
Well, one thing we do know, Dick Bavetta is taking no mess from anyone this afternoon. And Olajuwon went over, said something very pointed to him. And he said, okay.
Totally out of character for Akeem, who is just the nicest guy, often too nice to a fault in a game that's so emotional, so filled with warriors.
As you mentioned earlier, a couple of nights ago, it was Dick Bavetta who tossed Shaquille O'Neal. Or Bill Oakes, rather, and it was Dick Bavetta escorting Shaq off the court. 77-74, Sonics, last 45 seconds of the quarter. Stripped from Harrington. That'll be Seattle ball.
Greg, at halftime, remember I was telling you about those elbows and coming in high with them when the Sonics come in to strip? That's what the Rockets have not done.
Wingate lost the handle on the baseline. It'll go over to the Rockets with 22.7 to play. And Jim McIlvain going to jump off the bench quickly for the Sonics.
Substitution number 22, Jim McIlvain.
They're going to spread the floor. They're going to let Drexler make a play. George Karl is out, and he's saying, run at the ball. Don't let Drexler get going.
Kicks it out. Willis for 3 out of the side, around and out. Rebounded by Cummings. And Shrimp can't get it off before the buzzer. But in this game of big men, it's a couple of point guards who are making the news. Maloney and Payton, 17 apiece. Look at the assists. After 3, the Sonics 77, the Rockets 74. We'll come back to Seattle after these messages from your local station. Sean Kemp still on the bench. He left with the Sonics down 2 with 7.5 to play in the third, and they're up 3.
The quicker you make a decision with the basketball against the Sonic defense, the easier your chances are to score. Drexler lost control of that one.
And this 24-second clock expired. It'll be Seattle basketball.
The Seattle Sonic defense suffocating the Rockets, who just can't seem to get any easy baskets ever.
That's the 16th turnover of the day by the Rockets. Barkley back on the floor for Houston, and we get a whistle, and that looks like a foul on Drexler. That's 4 on Clyde Drexler.
They're going to get Eddie Johnson into the ball game. They're going to need Clyde down the stretch.
And Clyde continues to yell at Bill Oakes. Question is, will Clyde get off the floor before he gets a technical?
A very physical game all day. Translates into fouls. Cummings and Kemp with 4. Olajuwon, Clyde now to the bench. They bring Eddie Johnson in, try to get him hot again.
Payton gets double teamed. It's over to Wingate. Wingate to Cummings, baseline.
Mario Elliott is doing a marvelous defensive job. As good a job as can be done on Gary Payton.
Here's a mismatch, and Barkley doesn't take advantage of it. Maloney does.
Three-pointer by Maloney. 20 on the day for him, and we're tied at 77.
Maloney had McElvain on him, knew he wasn't going to get out, popped over him real quick.
And Maloney's showing things today that I really haven't seen before, creating his own shot off the dribble.
Wingate for 3.
Wingate has not had a good day.
And that's out of bounds to Houston. Sonics say it should be their ball. Don Vaden disagrees.
Now that's good basketball recognition. You see the big man stuck in the lane. You've been shooting the ball well. Suddenly it's your afternoon, and in the series, 3-point field goal has been his shot, particularly this afternoon.
Maloney is 6 of 9 today. He went 3 for 3 in the fourth quarter of game 3 to help the Sonics, or help the Rockets put the Sonics away, and Charles Barkley scored.
Kemp had to give up on that one. He held, but he knew he didn't want to get his 5th foul, so he gave up the ground, and Barkley cashed in.
That batted away by Willis, and it'll be out of bounds to Seattle with 14 on the shot clock. And we'll take time with 9:58 to play here in regulation. The Rockets lead it by 2.
Miller Genuine Draft presents a classic moment of the NBA at 50.
And today we look back at one of Hakeem Olajuwon's finest postseason performances. 10 years ago, Rockets and Sonics met in the Western semifinals, and in Game 6, Olajuwon was unstoppable. 49 points, 25 rebounds, and a double overtime loss to Seattle. The Sonics won the series 4 games to 2. The 49 points is Hakeem's career playoff high, as well as the most scored by a Sonics opponent in the postseason. In recognition of this classic moment, Miller Beer will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. There is Hakeem Olajuwon on the bench with 4 personal fouls. And this is the 6th time these two teams have met in the postseason. The Sonics have won the previous 5.
Now, Mario Ellie was trying to get that one on the ground, and Rudy Tomjanovich agreed with Ellie that I had him before he ever got his hands in the air, but Sean Kemp's going to go to the line. This is the most important fourth quarter of this series for the Sonics. They won the fourth quarter in game won, but they were so far behind it didn't matter. And so they got to have this one this afternoon. They lost game 2, but won the game, and they lost the key game here in game 3.
Rockets lead it 79-78.
Good pick, Willis, in the backcourt.
Willis, fall away. Got it. Kevin Willis. He has 12.
Excuse me, Greg. You're talking about two of the strongest men in basketball. TC, Terry Cummings, and Willis just banging head-to-head. Forced a double clutch, still able to get it.
Payton down the lane. Won't go, but he'll draw the foul. And now Willis and Cummings having some words. And Charles Barkley steps in between.
Well, when they start pointing fingers, and what they're telling Willis is walk away, and he's trying to walk away.
And
that should not be a technical foul on Kevin Willis. Terry Cummings was stalking him the entire way.
No, number 34.
That's Terry Cummings. And on Eddie Johnson.
How did Eddie Johnson get mixed up in that one, other than as a peacemaker?
Eddie Johnson was just strolling by on the sidewalk and got hit with a technical. There have been 6 technicals handed out in this game, and you know, we're going to feel kind of bad if we don't get one over here after a while.
We can arrange that for Steve.
Be careful what you ask.
Interesting thing is that Gary Payton now at the line shooting these free throws. He has not gotten involved in any of these altercations, but just a couple years ago, he would have been the instigator on every single one.
81-80, Houston. In case you're wondering, the Rockets took 3 of the 4 games during the regular season from Seattle. They took both games in Houston. They split here in Key Arena. Eddie Johnson on the move. And the rebound and the jump ball. Barkley ties up Kemp.
You can force Eddie Johnson to his left in the up and under move. Very difficult to deliver on that floater. Sean Kemp with the great rebound, but brings it in low and with one hand and no elbows out. Rockets able to tie him up.
Kemp and the Sonics should control the tap. You got to look to Gamble. Kemp taps it out of bounds.
And Willis saved it.
Too quick.
Rebound to Kemp. Cummings, cross court, corner, Wingate.
They're gambling off that guy, Wingate. He finally came up with a big hoop for the Sonics.
Sonics by 1, 82-81. Willis tied up by Hersey Hawkins.
Kevin Willis will get a wide open opportunity against a little guy, and like Sean Kemp on the previous possession, brings it right down to his level. And Sean Kemp limping badly.
Well, that's not George Karl's favorite thought on this day. Although Kemp appears it's going to stay in. Drexler has come in off the Houston bench, and Akeem will come in as at the following whistle.
Never
relieve Kevin Willis.
Never go to the ground in front of the other team's bench. You never know what they're going to do to you while you're laying there.
You may be perfectly healthy going in and be a little lame coming back.
A little quick foot to the back.
This is not football.
Spilled water. Put some Gatorade on his eyebrow. I mean, some analgesic on
Maloney. Payton had it batted away. Here comes Drexler. On the move, Barkley recovered, blocked and fouled by Kemp. That's 5 on Kemp.
Fouls on number 40, Sean Kemp. His fifth. First team
crowd wanted to travel on this play as Barkley didn't control that first pass, then got it. Sean Kemp reacting, picks up the personal.
I think that is traveling, Steve. When you bobble the ball like that, it's got to hit the ground before you can pick it up again.
Don't you have to get control of it? That was an air dribble.
It's the playoff. Let's let him he's running up and down.
Kemp and Wingate to the bench. Detlef Schrempf and Sam Perkins into the game. Barkley, 3 of 3 from the line today. That is a big fourth quarter force on the bench for Seattle. Tie game at 82 as we come up on 8 minutes to play. There have been 22 lead changes today. And Payton tripped up along the baseline.
Greg, all game long, Seattle has punished Houston with that on that left baseline.
Up along the baseline.
Greg, all game long, Seattle has punished Houston with that on that left baseline. The Rockets unable to close down guys over there. George Karl wants a 20-second timeout.
And now they're going to make it a full timeout with 7:53 to play. We're tied at 82, and we'll be back.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Snickers. Not going anywhere for a while? Grab a Snickers. Hungry? Why wait? By the all-new Chevy Venture. The Venture is here. Let's go. And by Miller Genuine Draft, who reminds you it's time for better beer breath.
This playoff atmosphere and intensity is almost unbearable as we return to Seattle. Coming up next, the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan against Dikembe Mutombo and the Atlanta Hawks. Their conference semifinal continues next here on NBC. Payton. Sonics by 2. Gary Payton has 21. By Hawkins. And that's batted out of bounds. It'll be Houston ball with 4 on the shot clock.
Enough time for the Rockets to get a shot, but the Sonics are going to be trying to gamble. So there's Rudy Tomjanovich said to his troops at the start of the quarter, play smart.
Ellie, baseline. Tapped up, no good. Loose ball foul on the Sonics.
Again, the Sonics can't keep Barkley off the glass. They're going to call it loose ball, rocket ball out of bounds. But when Ellie was forced to take the runner to beat the shot clock, Sam Perkins is holding Barkley. And he's calling for it. They gave it to him. He earned it.
You're coming down the stretch. Elijah Wan's only got 8 points. They've got to figure out how to get him into the ball game. He's got to go quickly.
Got the basket, and he'll go to the line. Foul is on Terry Cummings, and that's number 5 on Cummings.
Talking to Hakeem about the Sonic double team, he feels that he needs to get up the lane a little bit more to give him some more space. That time, that was just sheer power, sheer force. And then at the very end, the little flick. Nice keeping 2 hands on the ball all the way in.
Olajuwon to the line for the first time today. And it looked it. Barkley with the rebound. Give and go with Barkley, and he scores.
That is what is so special when great players team up like Barkley and Hakeem. The passing.
Rockets by 2.
Steal Ellie.
Out of bounds, yes, it belongs to the Rockets. Let's go back to Barkley and Hakeem. A little give and go.
He got the long rebound, and then quickly right to the hoop. Terry Cummings turned his head to watch Hakeem. Great quickness and finishing power by Barkley.
Sean Kemp returns to the lineup with 5 personals.
Well, he has to gamble. George Karl has to go now, and he has to get his inside force going again.
And that's out of bounds to the Rockets.
When Akeem is trying a little dump down pass into the middle, they're getting their hands on it. Seattle is almost every single time. Shot clock at 10.
Kemp bumping Barkley. Ellie has the ball. Shot clock is at 4. Drexler to beat the clock. Got it!
And a stoic George Karl sits up and puts the fist in the air and says, let's go power.
89-84 Houston. And Kemp powers his way inside, picked off, and we're going the other way, and that'll be number 6 on Sean Kemp.
Huge play. Akeem gave ground. His mother, Mrs. Payton, on the left of your screen, head in her hand.
Mrs. Kemp on the right says, Mother's Day was quick today.
Well, that was a huge gamble, and it didn't pay off for George Karl. Part of the reason's frustration for Sean Kemp. He got out of control on the last play. They got some water down on the floor, but he got out of control on the play and had his shot blocked. Now, he still had that bad leg and probably couldn't pop up, but he shouldn't have tried to make the steal.
Kemp leaves the game with 11 points, 9 rebounds in 29 minutes of play.
And remember, he had 10 of those early in the ball game. All of them smashed, dunked out, and he got shut out in the third because of fouls.
Rockets cannot get casual or comfortable here.
Barkley behind the back, out of bounds, and it belongs to the Rockets.
The wraparound pass, Wilt Chamberlain's invention and contribution to basketball, goes off of Sam Perkins' hip. Right here.
That's a very tough call.
Akeem outside, Ellie for 3. And now the Rockets begin to rain threes down on the Sonics. George Karl wants a timeout once the ball gets across half court, and he gets it.
A lot of time left.
5:30 remaining in regulation, and Mario Ellie nails the 3 when the perimeter game is clicking for the Houston Rockets. They can't be beat. Biggest lead of the day for the Rockets. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
During that timeout, and the Houston Rockets were all gathered together, they were saying, if you're offensively in trouble, take timeout. Defensively, stay with the three-point shooters. They were all giving Mario Ellie help on how to defend Gary Payton. He said, hey, guys, shut up. Leave me alone. I'm doing a pretty good job.
And he did a good job there.
Perkins for 3. And a big rebound by Olajuwon. 2-on-1. Ellie. And getting back on defense was Hersey Hawkins.
Great recovery by the Sonics. And Drexler and Ellie are just pounding this floor all afternoon, up and down. Hawkins able to get back and stop it.
They're going to go to Olajuwon now. He's got Terry Cummings on him, and he's got to look to score the ball.
Lost it on the baseline. Up ahead, Drexler has it back.
Play smart. Move the ball around. Post up Barkley. Let him get on Cummings and get to the hoop.
You are working for a coaching job.
Barkley, fade away. And Perkins wins the battle for the rebound. Payton glides down the lane. Turnaround is good. 92-86. 23 for Gary Payton.
6 in the quarter and a ton of time with a 6-point lead.
You got to attack.
Drexler blocked by Perkins. That'll be out of bounds to the Rockets.
As you said, Greg, nobody is happy today. Gary Payton right at you. He just loses the ball. Fine non-call by the officials.
defense on Olajuwon. That's 5 on Akeem. And the Rockets want time.
Rudy can't believe how the team has gotten so casual here. This game is far from over.
3:57 to play. 92-86 Rockets. This is the NBA on NBC.
Hannah Storm in New York. A look at Michael Jordan warming up in Atlanta as the Bulls get set for the Atlanta Hawks. Dennis Rodman will again be on the bench as Jason Caffey starts in his place. It's a huge game for Atlanta's Dikembe Mutombo after the Bulls took back home court advantage yesterday. The Bulls lead it 2-1 with pivotal Game 4 coming up after the Rockets and Sonics. Let's go back to Seattle.
All right, Hannah, and the Rockets lead this series 2-1, threatening to make it 3-1 going back to Houston. Coming up on 3:50 to play in regulation.
A couple of places where the Sonics can go that can hurt the Rockets. Detlef Schrempf is one, Gary Payton is the other.
Hersey Hawkins makes it a 4-point Rockets lead.
And the left baseline has been the Achilles heel for the Rockets defense today.
And what the Rockets can't do is get tentative at the offensive end.
It's way too early to be playing the clock.
Maloney. Out of bounds to the Rockets.
No.
And they turn that around.
They've got to talk this one over because that ball was clearly off Hersey Hawkins.
This one goes up deep from the perimeter. Drexler and Hawkins are going to try to get to it. First guy to the ball is Hersey Hawkins. Doesn't control it, and they give him the basketball. And this has been a game of breaks and streaks. Both coaches got to get their teams to play through.
Power 3 for Seattle. Post up, Detlef Schrempf.
Schrempf, fall away. Got it. Detlef Schrempf with 17. 2-point game. Taken away by Payton. 3-on-2. Payton, foul. And Drexler is upset with the call. And Barkley going to physically restrain him. That's 5 on Drexler.
Another non-call by the officials. Drexler. Well, Mario Elie just gets stripped there by Gary Payton all over the arm. No foul there. Everything going against Houston. As we saw at the end of the first half, they lost their composure there too.
Payton for the tie. Sonics have outscored Houston 8-0 in the last 3 minutes. Maloney for 3.
He just keeps letting them go.
19 for Maloney. Hersey Hawkins answers with a 3. Olajuwon loses his footing. Barkley back up and scores.
They're not going to call any fouls here.
Rockets by 2. 1:40 to play. Schrempf. Rebounded by Cummings.
Bring it out. New shot clock.
Payton across the lane. In to Houston. And Rudy T says timeout. A minute 14 to play. Regulation. Rockets with a 2-point lead and the ball when we come back. We come back to Seattle. Here is that last call by the officials. Definitely touched last by the Sonics before it hit the out of bounds. And a very happy Sam Mack over at the Houston bench.
Mario Elie telling Peyton, and they have this mutual admiration. You strip me on one, you got away with the other. They got to get the ball in. And the hero of the afternoon is the guy with the ball right now, Matt Maloney.
A minute 5 to play.
A lot of time on the clock. 12.
Barkley. And Olajuwon saves it. New 24. Back outside to Maloney. Akeem on the baseline, and he was pushed. Jim Gray told us during the timeout, Rudy Tomjanovich told the Rockets go hard to the basket.
Well, they should have been going hard for the last 5 minutes, and they got tentative, and the more aggressive Sonics got really after them, made some big plays, maybe some non-calls, but this tells us the story and the importance of this game. 24 lead changes, 20 ties. Second free throw.
Over their history, when the Houston Rockets have won the first game of the series, they have gone 16-0 in those series. 3-point lead for the Rockets. And timeout, Seattle. 48.3 to play. Rockets by 3 when we come back. And we'll be back in Key Arena after these words from your local station. George Karl with his eye on 3-point field goals as you see how his team has performed from behind the line.
I think it's way too early for them to be looking exclusively for a 3. Play the 2.
Hawkins tries the scoop, doesn't go. Olajuwon with the rebound, and it's the Rockets' ball with 40 seconds to play.
George Karl is saying no foul, no foul. Now, if you're the Rockets, you want to use some time and then drive the ball to the basket. Barkley checking the clock.
Barkley in the lane, puts it up left-handed. Looking for the foul.
You're never going to get that call.
Sonics need a 3 to tie.
Well, if you're the Rockets, you foul and you got possession of the ball. There's some confusion about who wants to shoot.
Peyton.
Get a
rebounded by Barkley and fouled by Perkins.
Barkley emphatically slams the ball down. The Rocket big men have controlled the boards today. Charles, Akeem, and Kevin Willis all have double-doubles. Now Barkley, who iced game 3 with a couple of free throws, has a chance to extend the lead to 5 with 11 seconds to go.
Now the crowd is a little disappointed and shouldn't be heading for the exits yet. 11 seconds, a ton of things can happen in 11 seconds, starting with Barkley missing both free throws. He's not had a great year with free throws, particularly under the gun.
He is 4 of 5 today from the free throw line. A couple of the folks stop in the aisles on the way out of the door. 11 seconds on the clock. Missed them both. Cummings with the rebound and a timeout. Soothsayer Steve Jones says, I told you so. We'll be back. 10.7 remaining in regulation. Houston by 3. Seattle will inbound the ball.
I think Houston has to foul here.
Well,
put him on the line. Don't give him a chance to hit a desperation 3.
Barkley is distraught with himself over there, and they're all trying to tell him, get your head in the game. We have the lead. Let's play like champions right now. And what they got to do is make a decision on how they want to defend. Eddie Johnson coming in the ball game.
For who? For who's he coming in? No.
He's coming in for Akeem.
Wait a second.
Again, I think if you're the Rockets, you foul for possession. And you put them on the line for 2. Don't let them shoot a 3. Here we go.
Hawkins. Back outside to Hawkins.
No.
Out of the side. Hit it! For the 21st time this afternoon, the score is tied.
All they had to do was grab a guy and put him on the free throw line. It got to a scramble situation, and the Sonics reacted quicker, as offensive players are like to do in this situation.
The three-point rule was brought in from the ABA, and most NBA coaches do not like this. And on Mother's Day, Hershey Hawkins could not have delivered a better mother's gift. But NBA coaches do not like the foul for possession. They don't like to play that foul free throw game because they feel that their team may not make the free throw. But I believe you got to have the basketball.
You've got to have confidence in your guys that they can knock it down. The shot clock at the lower right side of the screen. Game clock.
There's 2.4 remaining for the Rockets. Try to get something done.
All those people that left.
There are a lot of cars being reparked in the parking lot.
Neither team has a delay of game. They both burned them early. Houston still has a timeout.
Well, 2.4 seconds is a ton of time. The first and primary obligation for the Houston Rockets is to get the ball inbound. Gary Payton is noted for stripping the ball and going the length of the floor, so you got to make a good inbound pass.
Maloney lost the handle. We're going to overtime. As we get set to begin overtime, they have begun Game 4 in Atlanta. The Bulls and the Hawks. We will send you to Atlanta once formalities are completed here at Key Arena. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim.
All right, Greg. Well, during that entire intermission, nobody said a word on the bench over at Houston. You talk about being deflated. All the air seems to have come out. Finally, Clyde Drexler said, hey, let's win the tap. And he turned to Akeem and said, Akeem, you've got 5 fouls. Those are the only words spoken. Greg?
All right, Jim. The officials rule that it is Seattle basketball. In overtimes this season, Houston won 4 out of 6. Seattle 2 out of 3.
Momentum in the favor of the Sonics. Foul trouble hurting Houston. Akeem's got 5. Clyde's got 5.
Remember, Sean Kemp on the bench and out of this game with 6 personal.
Well, it's Elijah on time now. They got to go to the big fella, and he's got to start delivering the goods.
Fade away doesn't fall. Stremp with the rebound. Terry Cummings, open jumper, got it.
That's just a tremendous play by Terry Cummings. What a career, and have a jump shot like that, give his team the lead.
But it's early in the ball game, and again, what the Rockets want to do is reestablish Elijah down on the low post. Drexler for 3.
with the ball and a 2-point lead. Shrimp. Sonics with the first 2 baskets of overtime.
Houston's offense has disappeared. They're trying to go to Barkley down low.
Ellie. Tapped up and in by Barkley. 21 for Barkley. Terry Cummings wide open again. Payton went for the steal. Maloney for 3. And that's out of bounds to Seattle.
Mario Ellie stood there and watched.
Halfway through overtime.
They're going to come back to this matchup, Shrimp against Drexler, and let Shrimp make a play.
Cummings. That doesn't count. It's a 3-second violation.
You know, every time the other team has looked as though they've had the game under control, they've relaxed, something has happened that has swung the momentum the other way. Seattle can't afford to celebrate. 2:21 to go in the ball game. 4-point lead.
Barkley got the whistle and he'll go to the line.
Charles Barkley has a history of pounding that ball in that low box. He likes to step underneath you. Nobody's going for the head fake, but the power and the discipline in Charles' game allows him to score right in Perkins' face, who's got a full 7 inches of height, not to mention the long arms over Charles Barkley.
The Rockets were 2 for 7 from the line in the 4th quarter. And Barkley, who missed 2 critical ones, completes the 3-point play. Sonics by 1. 2 minutes to play in overtime. The Bulls and the Hawks coming up next here on NBC. Payton. .27 for Gary Payton.
Dan Perkins is frustrating the Rocket offense with his gambling defense.
You got to cut through and give Olajuwon room to work. He's not even looking to score.
Ellie, tough shot, no, tap no good. Barkley again, and he'll go to the line and shoot 2 more. Percy Hawkins commits his first.
Ellie forced to take a wild runner there, but nobody was there with Charles. Almost the kind you wish you brought down the first time. His free throws have really hurt Houston here.
Charles Barkley with all 6 of Houston's points here in the overtime. .106, 105 Sonics coming up on 1:20 in the first overtime.
Payton wants to get down the middle, stolen.
Up ahead for Maloney, chased by Hawkins, blocked by Hawkins. Perkins, offensive foul. number 6 on Sam Perkins.
Look at George Karl on the court here.
Barkley reaches in and makes a steal, and this looks like a sure two for Matt Maloney, but Maloney made the mistake of showing too early, and a tremendous save by Hawkins the other way, and then it is Olajuwon gambling.
Well, they've tipped off in Atlanta. The Bulls leading the series 2-1. Here's Scottie Pippen with a three-pointer. He has 8 points now to lead the Chicago Bulls. The score 17-10. The Bulls over the Hawks with about 5 minutes left in the first quarter. We'll go to that game right after the conclusion of overtime in Seattle. Let's get it back to Greg Gumbel and company.
All right, Hannah, thank you. George Karl looks on. Under a minute remaining. Sonics with a 1-point lead. Charles Barkley has scored all 7 of the points here in the overtime. Rockets looking for the lead.
Hakeem Olajuwon time. Dump it in. Get to work.
Well, he's got to go quick.
Back down low again. Olajuwon spins outside. Maloney for 3. Got it! 26 for Matt Maloney. 108, 106 Rockets. Half a minute to play.
Trying to get the ball to Payton.
Hawkins off the mark. And Wingate fouled by Mario Ellie. Matt Maloney 8 for 13 from behind the three-point line. And this one gave the Rockets a 108-106 lead. Timeout on the floor, 18.7 on the clock when we come back to Seattle. .7 to play, 108-106. Rockets lead the Sonics. We'll take you to Atlanta right after we're done here.
They force a switch, and Barkley has got Gary Payton.
Payton on the baseline. Wingate out of the corner for 3. Rebounded by the Rockets and fouled with 3.2 to play.
Mario Ellie. George Karl just so disappointed.
Ellie has got cramps, and he is a tired warrior, and they're going to come back to the free throw line, 3.2. This is one of their better free throwers under the heat. Got to have one.
That's the kind of day it's been here in Seattle, and for the second time today, the fans are heading for the exit.
Don't go yet.
Mario Ellie's first trip to the free throw line today. That makes it a 3-point lead, which is exactly the way it was near the end of regulation.
If they don't foul this time.
No need. Timeout with 3.2 to play.
Look at Mario Ellie.
They've had a lot of celebrations by the Rockets today. They've all been pulled short, but the real hero of this afternoon is number 12.
Matt Maloney, the rookie out of Pennsylvania, former Ivy League Player of the Year, and his 8 3-point field goals, one shy of the record for an NBA playoff game set by Rex Chapman of Phoenix against these same Sonics.
Greg, imagine the abuse that Maloney comes in, an Ivy Leaguer coming in out of the CBA. The abuse he's taken all year from Barkley and Clyde and Hakeem. Everybody teasing him as being, hey, come carry my bag, and now he's got him on the brink right now.
Well, the interesting thing is that when Rudy Tomjanovich was looking for someone to lead his offense, it was the veterans of this team that went to Rudy and said, we think Matt Maloney can do the job. He started all 82 regular season games, the only rookie in the NBA to do that.
Greg, he's a perfect ball handler. He doesn't turn it over. He doesn't have to make the plays. Spot-up shooter, that's what they really need, somebody who can fill it up when Hakeem and Charles are being double-teamed down there. And he's an underrated defensive player.
Well, the emotion, and you see it right there from Maloney, the Rockets saying, hey, guys, 3.2, we're going home. 3, what?
110-106. Houston threatening to grab a 3-1 lead, Game 5, back at the Summit in Houston on Tuesday night.
Charles Barkley just made a little gesture to the fans saying, we just tore your heart out.
The Rockets' position is to give up the score.
Out of the corner. Hawkins, no. Batted back, and that will do it. The Rockets have taken a 3-1 lead in this best-of-7 series and have a chance to wrap it up at home on Tuesday night. Let's go to Jim Gray. Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Greg. First, Charles, 7 points in overtime, but you missed those 2 free throws. Well, going to put the game away.
Yeah, I just blew those. I just messed up, and I felt so bad. But I knew I had to try to do something in overtime. The guys supported me, but I felt like a dog.
You were almost in tears, weren't you?
There's no excuse for missing 2 free throws. I mean, that's just bad. I felt like the rest of these players can't play a lick out there.
How about this guy right here, Matt Maloney, 8 3-pointers today. The big shot there in overtime. Tell us about that one.
Well, it was a play designed for Dream to get the ball down low. We knew they were doubling down. I knew the ball was going to come out eventually. And they were running at me. Shot clock was running down. I had to get him up in the air and pull up.
The nation became aware of your story today. It's got to be a very special Mother's Day for your mom sitting back home.
Oh, it's very special. I just want to wish her happy Mother's Day and great victory.
Mother's Day, y'all.
All right, let's send it back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, Jim Gray, thank you. 110-106 in overtime. The Rockets lead at 3-1. For Steve Jones, Bill Walton, and Jim Gray, I'm Greg Gumbel. So long from Seattle. Now to Atlanta. Marv Albert and Matt.